Appreciate you coming on, spending some time, bud.
Sorry about yesterday. We had plans.
And the other guy people want to know, and this is going to lead into a giant spiral, a tornado of fun. What do you think it would take to get Dark Side Phil in a ring?
I don't know.
And would you do it? What would it take? I don't know. Like, what's the line that you would cross to get DSP in a boxing ring?
The thing is I actually understand the value of Boogie 2988, and I understand the value of Wings of Redemption, and I understand the value of Dark Side Phil. I do. They have value. They absolutely have value, but it's not being used the right way. Like this boxing match was a perfect example of, look, they're lol cows. We'll throw them in a ring, and now like everyone's entertained. They love it, and they love them for doing it, right? But he doesn't trust me. So I don't know. If I'm offering you $50,000 and you can't get on the phone call, right? You can't just communicate with me. I don't know what it would take. It would be near impossible.
I'm playing a fucking video game, you idiot.
You know, that's part of the reason why I'm trying to figure this guy out and go through and do this documentary on him, is because I want to know who this guy is, because I really don't know. He's a liar. He lies about so much stuff. He was on your show and he was clearly lying, right? It's like there's this documentary on YouTube where, you know, they have all the bank records of somebody broke into his bank or whatever. And it's just like, bam, bam, all this proof that he was buying the wrestling skins or whatever on the mobile game. And he's up here, oh, that's not my account. I don't do that. Like there's a recording of him saying to his stream that he was addicted to this game. Like there's so much evidence. And we're talking about like a gambling addiction. So why couldn't he just say in that moment, yes, that was me. I had a problem. I fixed it. Like,
well, I have no idea what I'm doing. They didn't even explain anything.
I don't know.
We've said this a lot. We said this, like somebody pointed this out in the chat. They said, you guys gave him a golden ticket and he ripped it up. You gave him and he spat on it. So, well, you alluded to this, but I want to go over to, I was on a podcast called That Being Said earlier today, and they really wanted me to get more information about this tweet that you sent out, which you alluded to, but you said you've set up interviews with DSP and family. We're going to get to the bottom of this. And unlike him, they like money. So tell me more. What is this about? And you mentioned the documentary. We were kind of talking about it behind the scenes, but I don't know. You're obviously going through it with it. So tell me more.
So when I think of like one of the greatest like docu-series or whatever, it's got to be like Tiger King, right? It's like, it's such an interesting story. And I think that's why people are so obsessed with DSP, is because he's so interesting. Like he does the exact opposite in every scenario that he should do. And you're just like, you're stumped like at some of his moves and how he acts. And you're like, is this a real person? And I'm so curious to find out who is the actual person, because I see him on his stream and he's like, we're going to have a fun time today and we're going to play some games. This is going to be some amazing entertainment and da-da-da.
Less drama, more fun, and more enjoying gaming together than anything else. That's been my focus this year, okay?
Like he's talking to millions and millions of people, but the truth is he's barely making it. And when opportunities come to help him in his career, he shuts them all down. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him talking to another YouTuber other than your show. He doesn't even communicate with the outside world. It's like the weirdest thing. And I want to get to the bottom of it. I want to talk to people that know him in real life. So, you know,
that's the thing. I think we broke him, our interview broke him. And it wasn't necessarily our interview. It's that we talked about it the next day. And I don't know if you know the whole backstory behind this, but, I sent him an email just saying like, we do not trust what you said. There's so much that doesn't make sense in what you said, but we'd obviously love to continue the conversation. And here's the thing, like, I personally want what's best for him. I want him to get to level 2, as you say, right? I think that would be a great human interest story if he found a way to take that next step in his career, after being at the same level for 18 years. But I truly don't think he wants it. And I think that he has been pointed out many times, he has his own bubble. And I think that our interview and just kind of laying things out directly in front of him as clear as possible, pushed him further into his bubble. And him leaving that bubble scares him.
No! Stop hitting me, Sid! Stop fucking me! You destroyed me! No!
Yeah, it's weird. It's like this. He's like got a king complex or something. Like when he's on his stream, he is the one in charge. All right. You say something he doesn't like, you're gone. Right. You know, certain people get shout outs and da 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 da. And he's, you know, we're going to wear the vest if you donate that money. And he's in full control. As soon as he's outside of that element, he's like, no. I need to get back. You know, that's the bubble you're referring to. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know what it would take. I don't know what the motivation would be. He's got an excuse every step of the way to just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. But I'm going to find out. There's got to be some motivation somewhere in his life that would get him to do something else. And if he improves his life, if he goes to level 2, I'd be happy too. I think everyone that's obsessed with the dark side Phil and clipping him and all that, they would like to see Phil outside in the real world, in a real interview, like where the interviewer is like right next to him. They would like to see like him going to Walmart or something. Like my vision of a documentary with dark side Phil is to like actually like capture who this guy actually is. Because he is playing a character to the max. He's lying through his teeth on his streams. He's saying like, you know, I don't have money to pay this and I don't have money to pay that. But really, you know, obviously he's spending money on gambling and pets and alcohol and also their crazy stuff.
I had to pay my bills. I had to stay afloat.
I want to get to the real person and understand what is going on here. Is there a mental disorder? Is he actually a scammer? Is he sitting on like, you know, thousands of dollars and people just don't know? I see somebody in the chat say touch grass. I would love to see him touch grass. Right. Imagine if you had a piece of content of Phil walking into the park talking about his life and his career. That would be amazing.
Just maybe going to the gym, doing some curls or something. That'd be good. Man, that's awesome. With Phil, one of the big things you mentioned, you know, the 50K. We touched on this in the podcast with the Lolcow podcast with Wings, Boogie. I had Boogie on. I didn't actually get a chance to really talk to him about the 50K, but I'm sure he was pissed at the idea that, you know, DSP kind of shot the whole thing down. Do you? I don't know. Let's take a step back. Let's go back to this interview thing
again. Well, actually, I haven't mentioned this yet, but there is a little bit of a moral dilemma going on here. So, Augie RFC, are you familiar with him? He's a streamer. Mm-mm. Augie RFC calls me on his stream the other day, and he's like, isn't this a little fucked up that you're going to interview his family and friends? Like, isn't that like kind of like doxing or intrusive? And I'm like, well, I'm a journalist. If I'm doing a documentary, you got to talk to people that know him. You got to get the story, da da da. And then like, so I'm dealing with this because it's like, I've always wanted to like protect content creators and their privacy, and the idea of like interviewing family members and friends seems so fucking icky to me. And so I've been like trying to figure out, is there another way to do it? Is there another way to capture it without being so intrusive? And at the end of the day, I always come back to, well, I need Phil to play ball. Like I need Phil to sign off and like actually be a part of this film. That is the only way it really works. So yeah, we have contacted some people. We have set up some stuff. We don't have shoot times or anything like that, but you know, we have agreements to put together. I actually have to fly there to sit down with these people because I don't want to do any internet stuff. If I'm making a film, like I want to be there, just like the Wings and Boogie thing that I did.
Right. It's a good decision. Can I chime in on that? Because I don't think that there's, so from a journalistic standpoint, right, what you do is you exhaust your resources. You exhaust your resources to tell the best story you could possibly tell in the most objective way you can possibly do it, right? You've reached out to Phil. Phil doesn't want to be a part of it. So you're going to tell the best story you can tell through the assets that you have. If that's friends, if that's family, if it's the guy at the coffee shop who serves them every Tuesday, then you do that. I don't think there's any moral issue with that personally. I think that as a journalist, if that's the cap that you wear as a journalist cap, I think that is something that's part of the obligation, is to chase the story as best as you can until the story dries up.
100%. You're 100% right. But then there's this other element of like the YouTube community and YouTubers and how they look at that, and they would be like, that's fucked up, you know, that's too intrusive. Like, I wouldn't want some journalist interviewing my family members or, you know, my significant others and neighbors and shit like that. That's just like crossing a line to them. So it's this like weird thing that I've been juggling for the last couple of days, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, keep us updated. I'm sure a lot of people are very interested in the idea. And I don't know, like I said, for me personally, I have a journalistic background. I have this degree and stuff. And I've been in newsrooms. I've seen it. But I don't think there's really that big of an issue, but I understand the perspective from a YouTuber perspective for sure.
I had this like dream that he would see the Wings Boogie fight and he'd be like, okay, Keem's legit. Maybe I should work with him and do some stuff. But that's not what happened. I started seeing clips where he was like banning anybody that talked about their fight. Like, their fighting had nothing to do with DSP, and he was banning people. So it's just,
Phil bans everyone in chat who disagrees with him. I'm playing a video game right now. How do you think I'm magically banning everyone in chat?
It's crazy how off his rocker he really is. And I don't know how to communicate with him. Like, I have no way to actually have a conversation with him. When he was on your show and me and him were talking back and forth, I was like, this is calm. This is settled. Like, there's no beef anymore. And then he's right back on his show where he's the king and he's in control and he's the only one in control. And he's talking shit about me again. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Well, I think coming out of that fight, the Wings Boogie fight, and it shows here, like, Wings obviously took a step just from a perception standpoint. You know, it's the thing is it's his redemption arc, the Wings of Redemption arc, right? And Boogie has at least owned the idea that he got his shit kicked in, right? And I think that it's funny, and he's like, yeah, man, I got my ass kicked. That's fine. And Wings put out a tweet that said, like, really, I may have got beat up, but the biggest loser was DSP here because he's the one who, sat back and
you said Wings, but you meant Boogie. But yeah,
I'm sorry. Yes. I apologize. Yeah, but and then you saw action like this where the money rolled in for Wings the other night on his stream, and like, good for him. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Ow, that hurts. My ass is in fuego. Very nice.
There is one idea that I had that I would love to pitch off, throw off you a little bit. Phil's I wouldn't say his fans, but a lot of people watch him. Obviously, they're called detractors. Right. And I thought it would be very interesting to start the first ever Detractorcon and allow all the detractors to come together and create a convention. And I think it's going to happen. I really do think it's going to happen.
Do you really believe that?
So what are your thoughts? Would you like to be a speaker at Detractorcon?
Absolutely. That sounds awesome.
Like, I think it would be fun.
You know how we could probably get DSP active and into some type of collaboration? Let's set up a video game challenge between like Rich and him where they play some game against each other. Like, there's got to be some way to mobilize him. But I guess the biggest problem is, like, how do you contact him? How do you actually have a conversation with him? Because the email thing doesn't work anymore. He doesn't respond to any fucking emails. Like, how do you actually have a conversation with him to set up anything? That was my problem. Well,
tonight, I'm going to send all of our audience over to DSP's channel as a peace offering. I tried it last night, and every single night I will be sending our audience to Phil's channel because he's streaming right now. So. Yeah. We want to send a peace offering over there because we want to open up the lines of communication. And I've made it very clear to Phil that I would love to continue the conversation with that we had, because I think that we barely scratched the surface, when it comes to peeling back that onion. I really think that I could do another 20 hours with the guy and just really dive in. But I said, look, I will do it on your channel. I'll do it on our channel. I'll do it on whatever channel it needs to be on to continue the conversation. Because I do think that it's there. But I do agree with you. I think some sort of gaming convention or gaming competition with and just having him included would be ideal. And
Something
put some
like
prize
that.
money attached to it or something. I don't know.
As soon as Wings and Boogie stepped out of their comfort zone, opportunities started coming at both of them left and right. He's got to do something different. It goes back to the level 1 bullshit. He is doing the same thing over and over again. It's like insanity to watch. Like you have to do something.
That's right. If only I weren't so old. If only I were young. I could stay up past 8 p.m. and not be yawning like a grandpa.
I mean, these detractors that are in the chat, they know him better than I know. Other than DSP coming on to talk to Craig and Side Scrollers, has DSP ever done a collaboration? Like, when was the last time? Like a decade ago? Like, when has he ever worked with another actual YouTuber, had a conversation with them online, made a piece of content, played a video game with another person?
So it was 3 years ago. The interview was with the quartering, and Jeremy got roasted for it because he didn't really ask the questions that people wanted to know. He kind of went unprepared.
Interesting.
So he did that 3 years ago, and that was kind of the big thing, was that he was going to have the interview with us. But prior to that, I don't know. And I knew Phil from a decade ago when I had Screw Attack forever ago, and he was a community member there, and that's how I first got to know him. We had a convention, and he actually came out and spoke to it. So at some point, Phil was a reasonable dude. He came out to conventions and stuff, and I think he had a panel and all sorts of stuff. But obviously, things have changed. So I will try to facilitate that. I mean, like I said, he can even stay at his house. It doesn't need to be an in-person thing. We can do it all online.
I know how to get Phil out of his house. He's got to be invited to speak at a panel by a reputable like PAX or something.
Surely you know somebody over there, right?
Yeah, I do. Maybe he'll respond to this email. I just gave it away, though. I shouldn't have said that publicly.
Listen, I think that he would probably have the most packed panel at the event.
Oh, it'd be insane.
I mean,
could you imagine his team of mods that are in his channel? They're like all set up like bouncers, and they're like just pulling people out of the audience, like banning them in real life.
It's only positive content here, guys. Positive content. None, all you haters get out. Oh, that'd be awesome. Okay, so well, look, you're not going to have you can email him, but how about this? How about he has Twitter? Make a pitch for him now. We'll clip this. We'll put it out there for him. Make the pitch to Phil. It doesn't need to be for the podcast. It can be for whatever you want. It can be for a convention thing. It can be for a gaming event. Just make the pitch and see if you can speak some logic to him.
You want me to do it right now?
Yeah, sure. Go fire ahead.
DSP. I know you see me as your enemy, right? But really, I've just been responding. You talk shit, and then I talk shit back. You do something shitty, and then I do something shitty back. That's not what I want. I actually want to work with you. I've been wanting to work with you. Started with a podcast. Now I'm doing a documentary on you. I want to work with you. I might not do the documentary. I may do it. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air right now. But I want you to get outside of your comfort level like Wings and Boogie did. Wings is having like a huge success, and so is Boogie right now. That could be happening to you in your channel. Wings went live and got $1,000 in donations in the first 5 minutes. You got to step out, right? I'm not bringing up the level thing, but you do have to do something different. So I think you should do a gaming competition. Maybe go to like PAX, run a panel. You have to do some piece of content with other YouTubers outside of your comfort zone, and I will help you do that. Peace offering, Keemstar, DSP.
It's not like there's one consistent. Oh